What is going on? What is going on? What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Strictly Sports, the pre-show. Uh, I'm BY,
It's your boy Miles.
and we are back. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good. So something interesting happened today. I wanted to ask you. So I had a job interview for the summer job, whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
And at the interview, the dude was like, I like the way you dress. I had on a shirt, a simple shirt, and a tie. So my thing is, do people not dress up for job interviews anymore?
Um, it depends on what dress up is. I mean, you know me. I'm like you. You know, if I'm dressing, I'm dressing.
Yeah.
I don't think they do. I think they wear Balenciagas and I don't know, man. I
Well,
don't
I
get it.
just look at like the NFL draft, and I don't know. I guess you call me old school. To me, that don't look like dressing up. It look like
What's
a
going on,
damn
Lady Ray?
draft show.
Yeah.
Like put on a regular suit and tie. Like them fools, they look crazy, man. I don't know. Maybe you can get caught. I guess I'm at that age where I'm on status now. So
Oh, we got to graduate you to
yeah, well, the kids already call me Unc at school, so I'd already accepted it. But
on.
it's just I don't know, man. Simple. I'm always a person. Simple is better. Nice
Yeah.
shirt, nice tie, nice shoes. You know, but all that flashiness, I mean, it ain't me. But I just thought that was very, very interesting.
Miles is old, Lady Ray.
So
He was an old man. I mean, what is like? I'm trying to figure it out because, like, I look at the kids nowadays and everything. I'm just like, where did it come from? Like,
mhm.
just everything, all of it. Like, where does it all come from? Like,
Right.
parenting, tablets, TV screens, 24/7. Um,
I mean,
everything.
technology is the new thing, man. I mean, look, you got damn cars driving themselves. Um, I saw something where I don't know. This is true. It's kind of scary. Well, Bill Gates was like, in 10 years, AI will be, AI will replace teachers and doctors. We won't even need human teachers and doctors in about 10 years. And it's just like,
I
yo,
don't,
we really about to let technology take over our life.
what? Yes, yes, and I mean, technology already took over our life. If we, you know that, if we
Yeah.
honest with it, the phones, like connections, everything. And it is the factor of lazy, but I also see it for the benefit of how I look at what you say with AI and education. It's not going to replace the human, but it's going to be easier for you as the educator to say, hey, I have a student that struggles with this, that has this certain trauma and experience in their life. They have this learning disability. This is what their favorite activities are. This is the best way that I get them engaged and interact with them. Develop me a plan or curriculum to suit their needs to help me foster their growth. So now with AI, you can do that over 30 individual students to where now your job is you have somebody in the room with you that can help you do your job more effectively and reach more people in the student individually. Is how I see it working. But it's also going to be the factor of capitalism and laziness to where people are just going to put screens in schools and let kids come in there and just learn how to push buttons on the screen to get them prepared for the future.
I agree. Well, it's gonna be interesting, man. And I mean, it's just a theory. I'm thinking about 30. Hell, might be younger than that. I don't think anybody's gonna be working.
Oh, 30 years? I think yeah, I see the bad. I see the 40% of bad they said can happen, but I also see the 60% of nobody's going to be doing building infrastructure. Well, the physical tools of those jobs, like the physical toils of those jobs, like nobody's going to be doing that.
Mm-hmm. Up, you on mute.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now? Underlay, underlay. Yeah, yeah. Uh-oh. Hey, look here. Look here, Lady Ray. This is why you do the pre-show. This is why you do the pre-show to set up for stuff like this to see your technical difficulties and things. But it's not as widespread as we think. It's not as widespread, no, but it's going to be as widespread because I mean, just the ROI on just the saving on workers' costs. I mean, they've been doing it in the factories forever. I mean, look at the assembly line with the robots now. So it ain't nothing
Mm-hmm.
that's new, but it's. I mean, it depends on who does it and who yields it. Pretty much, it's like that's why we got to get on this baseline now and develop these guidelines, develop these uh, rules, and be in these rooms to actually develop AI and use AI for what we want to use it for. So,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm a big proponent of is AI education like that, and then the sports training institutes because not everybody wants to be in school. Some people want to go be an athlete, so go train to be an athlete. Some people want to be a plumber. Some people want to be an electrician. Like AI can help streamline a lot of these learning. And if we get all the bull crap and bureaucracy out of a lot of these sectors and things, we can advance our younger generation into STEM and STEAM and trades and infrastructure and then just creativity. So
Mm.
I don't know. I hope the future looks bright in my mind, but we got to cultivate and curate it. But I'm long winded.
Okay.
That was my B rant. I don't rant like that. I'm sorry.
No, I
I'm
got
sorry.
you,
Y'all
man.
don't see the B rants.
Oh, I remember another thing I put in the I don't know if we talked about this last week. So with everything, you know everything with Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
Um, the topic of the question was because I remember your mom answered it. What happened to Shannon Sharp? Should men? Is that a reason why more men need to get married? Speaking to a married man.
I watched Brilliant Idiots and I agree with what Charlemagne said. It needs more as we all like dick discipline. Like it's but also I don't know, like it's plenty of people that do that situation, have a situation like that, and they don't turn into that. So I guess
And
I don't know. It's a slippery slope.
I agree. I don't think you need to get married to watch out for those type of things. 'Cause you can be married and still do those type indulge in those activities. I think, like you said, you just need good discipline. You've been a celebrity for over 30 years. I'm pretty sure you've had women throw themselves at you, and you still falling for the bait. Like a 19-year-old OnlyFans model. Like really?
Yeah.
Right. But Trigger,
What up, fellas?
you a married
How
man.
you
Let me
doing, baby?
ask you. Everything that happened with Shannon Sharp. The question last week was, what happened with Shannon Sharp? Is that a reason why more men need to get married?
What do you mean?
Like what happened with Shannon Sharp with the whole the scandal. We ain't gonna get deep into it,
Right.
but people are saying what happened to him is a reason why more men need to stop being afraid to get married and get married so they can settle down and this, that, and the third.
Well, I think that's kind of complex because
Yeah.
I don't think men should just get married just to keep themselves out of situations like that. That wouldn't be a good reason
Mm-hmm.
for men to get married. Plus, marriage, as we've discussed, it doesn't really favor men a lot. It's geared towards women and the children. I mean, the man's the provider. He's there. He's doing all these things. But if something were to go wrong in the marriage and they split up, like who oftentimes is the beneficiary or is the winner, quote unquote, of that situation? Usually the woman, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know if
I,
getting
I
married
broke you in the
would
first
be
time.
beneficial for men. It can be if you with the right partner and it works out and y'all don't ever have, I won't say ever have any disagreements, but like there's no, there's nothing that happens that, compromises y'all being married or staying married or whatnot. There's a lot of people out there that make it work But again, it's not just something I think that people should take lightly and look at a reason as to why they should hey, I should get married because I need to settle down. Like they gotta want to settle down.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the big thing too. They gotta want to settle down and be a one woman man. So
I ain't
and that's
laughing at what you're
ultimately
saying,
that's
Trigger.
ultimately what it comes down to.
I'm laughing at Miles. I just read what he had at the bottom of his thing. I wasn't laughing at what you were saying. I agree because you have to want to make that commitment. But Negro number 31 out of 100 is crazy.
What is that? I'm trying to figure that out. What does that mean?
That's
Hey, that's we gonna
that,
get into it. All right,
yeah.
let's get
Well,
the
that's
show
the
started.
whole
Let's get the show
gorilla.
started.
One gorilla versus 100 men.
Let's
Oh.
get
I
the
know.
show
I
started.
know you do.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, check it. Listen up, we're making noise. Strictly Sports Podcast, bringing all the toys. Be wise, Malls, and Trigger. We the three wise men. Drop the knowledge, breaking records. It's our mission, man. From the field to the court, we cover it all. No topic too big, no team too small. We analyze, we debate, we bring that heat. Strictly Sports crew taking over the beat.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Strictly Sports. I'm Be Wise,
I'm Miles.
And I'm Trigger, man.
and
Miles a fool. Yeah.
we. All right, let's get it going. First question: 1 versus 100. One gorilla versus 100 N words, as some people saying. I'm gonna say 100 guys. Who you got, Trigger, and why? And then what's our plan to beat the gorilla?
I got Miles. I'm just gonna put him up against the gorilla 1-on-1. Yeah, you got 7 fouls. You know how to use them.
Hey.
You on third team all park district for no reason.
Yes, sir.
I look at it too, and I think about it. When I see that first person arms get ripped off, excuse me, and that's like what if you saw number 27 arms and legs get ripped off, and you know in 4 more times and 4 more people, you're gonna have to be ready to go.
So I have a question though. What is the format? Is it
Yeah.
one person at a time, or can all 100 attack the gorilla?
That was my thing. I thought it was all 100 at once, or is it they one by one?
All right, who going on the front lines?
Yeah, I mean, but see, that's the thing though. If we all run up to that gorilla, it might
Somebody
work.
getting it though,
But
bro. Somebody getting it, bro.
until that gorilla literally starts going ape shit, I think that's when dudes gonna start retreating. Yeah, nah, brother. If it's 10 on 10 on 10, I'm going the other way.
Somebody getting eaten, brother.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you, brother Miles, have a message for the people?
Yeah, I don't know. Cade Cunningham, Detroit Pistons. I don't want to hear nothing about the officiate, man. Y'all allowed a 21-0 run in game 1. You almost gave up game 2. Game 3 came down to the wire, and Cade Cunningham had 2 crucial turnovers late in the fourth quarter. But everybody wants to harp over the quote unquote non-foul. I mean, I'm never going. My old football coach used to tell me, never put the game in the referee's hands, because you will likely get the result that you do not want. So now we are down 3-1, heading back to New York. I'm not saying it's over, but it doesn't look too promising. And my last thing, I think, is Nico Harrison starting to look like a genius.
Uh-oh.
Let's talk about it.
I got a comment to make about that too, by the way. But we'll
Hold on.
it's nothing major. It's just a comment.
Go ahead. Trigger ran away. The floor is yours, brother.
Well, I'll come back to the Nico topic, but originally I was gonna get in here and talk about the Shedeur situation and how messed up it was. I know we're probably gonna cover it again when we get to the draft stuff, but I just want to hit on the prank call. Now I get why the NFL did what they did. You know, Shedeur didn't have the greatest showing um, during the combine with the interviews, and then not taking part in the drills and stuff like that. And obviously, Coach Prime, his dad, the great Deion Sanders, did a lot of talking about teams and having a hand or having control and who he wanted to play for. And if I'm an NFL owner, that would turn me off too a little bit. So I understand from the NFL's perspective as to why, if they indeed came together and decided to make an example out of them, well, job well done. They did that. Even though I don't think they should have stooped to that level to do so, there's other ways I feel like they could have made them or sent a message rather than going to that extreme, especially with how talented he is. But I understand why. Now getting to the prank call, a lot of people out there have said that Shador deserved what he got when it came to the prank call. That they didn't like his bravado and like the way he was showcasing himself and gloating and doing all these different things when he was at Colorado, even though he was balling at Colorado. People like to talk about the record they got. Well, they were better every year he was there. Do I remind people what their record was before the Sanders crew showed up? Before they got those
One,
guys that showed up?
1-11.
They won one game right before Deion Sanders got there. So each year he's been there, they've won more games. And they've been in the national rankings. They've been relevant. Shador has made them relevant. Shador did what he did with no offensive line. Think about that. To try to criticize the man's skills and say, oh, because he played in a weak conference against weak competition, his numbers don't matter. Well, I think it's harder to do what he did when you're running for your life. So you got to give him some credit. Imagine if he had time and he had a chance to sit back and actually throw some more comfortable passes. But the prank call, that was definitely something that, some people out there really got some great entertainment and enjoyment out of that. And that's really cruel and that's really sick. How a bunch of strangers and a bunch of people out here, don't like a player so much that they literally wish on their downfall and stuff like this happens to them, and that's childish and immature, and they are getting behind it, they're all giddy about it, and they're celebrating that. And I'm just telling you, as an athlete, when you're putting moments where it's a first time, it's a one-time thing, like you worked your whole life to get drafted in the NFL. Like you're going to get drafted, but still, when that moment hits, when they call your name for the first time, and you get that phone call from the organization that's going to draft you, like you can't go back and redo that. So his first experience getting that call after waiting longer than he should have, might I add, getting his hopes up and then telling him it's a joke or whatever happened, like that's cruel, man. I don't care how much you dislike a player, how much you hate a player, or what personal opinions you got about him or his family. Like that is low. That is lower than low. And you don't do that to a guy who's done something and worked towards something his whole life to try to get something, and then you crushed his moment by having something special like that taken away from him. It took away from the allure of the real deal. So when they actually did call him and told him, hey, you're getting drafted by the Cleveland Browns or whatever, or the Cleveland Browns called him and tell him, hey, we're drafting you. Like, yes, they celebrated. They were happy. There was video of them dancing and celebrating that. But I got to think that a little bit was taken away from that because of the prank call that he got earlier. But the people that are out there celebrating that, man, it's nonsense, man. And I don't believe that he deserved that. But yeah,
I
again, I'm not gonna say that and completely absolve Shador and Dion for the things that they did and they said that kind of put him in this position. But I think the NFL took it a little too far, and the prank callers definitely took it way too far because they took a very special moment. They robbed him of a very special moment that he worked for and deserved to have.
I think we're gonna talk about Shador later, but I just want to add, I think it's very, very, very interesting and telling that the son of the defensive coordinator of an NFL team was the one that did it. Um, the story came out that the dad, the defensive coordinator, left his tablet open in the house, and that's how the son got the number. Um, Kind of seems a little far fetched, but I don't know because why would the defensive? I don't know, but you on mute, be wise. You on mute, be wise. You're on mute.
I got you.
Mm.
So why would you go specifically looking in his tablet for that number specifically to do that?
But that's my thing. Did that happen, or did the dad, showed him?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever know, but it's still wrong either way.
Yeah.
They just trying to make headlines and get themselves make fun of the situation. Again, like, yes, it's hard to the door and Dion for kind of doing what they did in terms of how they treated the combine and the interview process, and his dad saying things that he said about the teams, or what teams he's going to play for, what teams he didn't want to play for, or whatever. But again,
Well,
it doesn't absolve the NFL and the prank callers for what they did. I think they took it up way higher than they needed to be.
and to be fair, 2 points. Number one, Shedeur wasn't the only person that got prank called. The kid from Mechanicsville got prank
Tyler
called.
Warren,
It was a couple other players that got prank called. And then as far as
Isaiah
Shedeur,
Bond.
as far as Shedeur not participating in the combine and in the Senior Bowl, that happens a lot more than what we think. When you are
Yeah,
a
there's plenty
high,
of players that come through there and don't participate. They made a big deal out of Shedeur not doing it, like it was like the first time somebody had done that.
when you are a high draft round, especially like a top 5 pick or projected top 5 pick, a lot of them don't do it because it's like you can't get any higher. You can only go down. You can only go down. So
Right.
why
You can
would
only make your value worse. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
why? It's a business. Why would I
Yep.
do that?
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm not mad at Shedeur for not participating in the scout in the combine. And I've
Right.
always told you how I felt about the combine. It's one of the most overrated events ever.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
Why
Look
you
at the
say that?
damn tape.
Not
Right.
overrated.
Look at the tape.
Yeah,
The
look at the
combine
tape.
does nothing. Them doing, drills with no pads on and they got no defense in front of it, nothing. Like, go look at the tape and see who you want to draft. What we need the combine for.
Yeah.
Sometimes people can be good at drills and doing stuff, where there's no real game situation, and then they get out there in the game, and then all that stuff they did, in front of you at the combine, you don't see it. So I know plenty of guys who I played with over the years in basketball that were real good at doing certain drills. When there was no defense, they could dribble the ball, do all the ball handling stuff, dribble through the cones and everything like that. But when they had the defender in front of them,
Yeah.
so
I call it. It ain't nothing but the underwear Olympics. That's
yeah,
all it is.
a lot of times, man, that stuff don't translate over to the field like you might think. It's good for personal skills, building up skills, but then again, you got to use them against live defense or live players.
Who do y'all think is the greatest football player to ever play?
That's too hard.
That's kind of hard because you got guys that play defense, you got guys that
Oh,
play
so
offense.
the greatest quarterback to ever play.
Got to be Tom Brady.
Look at his
Quarterback?
combine. Look at his combine. I could have performed
Exactly.
better than him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you got guys who don't do typically well at that stuff, but then they get out there on the field and they ball out.
Who's the biggest quarterback bust in NFL history?
People gonna get mad at my answer.
I mean, would you say Jamarcus Russell is probably one of the biggest busts?
That was the first name that came to mind.
I was gonna say Johnny Manziel.
I didn't want to be
Johnny
too
Manziel
quick.
was the first one.
Well, I mean, but my point is, go look at Jamarcus's combine. He could throw it 65 yards on his knees, but he can't.
I can give you a current day one.
Huh?
I can give you a current day one.
Ooh.
Anthony Richardson.
There it is.
4-4 at the combine, got drafted top 4. Now you.
Well, yeah, and I still, because you, like Trey said, if you look at the tape, he was horrible in college. Horrible.
He only played 12. I think he played 20 games between high school and college before he got to the NFL.
He was horrible in college. I'm like, really? Because he can throw the ball 50 yards on his knees? When are you ever going to throw the ball 50 yards on your knees in a game?
Right. Yep. Like I say, man, some guys can do them drills and then they get out in the game and they suck, or it's vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do the drills, or they do drills that don't really matter, and then they go out in the game and they kill it.
Oh, are we doing the NFL draft now?
Yeah. So according to PFF, the Carolina Panthers and the Dallas Cowboys got A+ drafts.
Man, I reckon Yeah, go ahead, B Wise. What you got to say about your team? I know y'all. I know you had to be thrilled with that first round pick.
What?
Did you see that coming?
I don't know what
I
you're
was
talking about, brother. I
thinking.
don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on,
I think y'all was going for
who's y'all's
defense.
first round pick? Was it
The
that wide
receiver
We
receiver?
that
got
Dallas
Chet.
was going to
We got
draft.
Chet.
Was it that wide receiver from Arizona that y'all got?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes,
No.
sir.
Let
Yes,
me.
sir.
I was at Wop's house. I don't know about him. You look at his film, he can't get open. Go look at his
Dave
tape.
Canales get him open. I ain't worried about it. Dave
Cannot.
Canales gonna get him open.
That is scary. He cannot get open. He's not gonna be
No, it
making.
ain't.
He's not gonna be making 70 to 80 acrobatic catches. He cannot get open. I don't know about him. I looked at when he got drafted and they were showing his tape. He could not get open. If you can't get open in college, you're damn sure gonna get open in the NFL.
Dave Canales is gonna get him open, and I love what we're doing. Trigger, I'm glad you say that because let's go back to the media presentation. First round pick, Ted McMillan. I was shocked because y'all know I wanted Jalen Walker. I wanted the edge. I wanted Jalen Walker. That's who I wanted. So we got Ted, and I was like, okay, we needed it. You say Ted can't get open, but Dave Canales, one, can get him open, and I think he can get open. He needs to get, I think, a little bit stronger to be able to beat off press, but they said the same thing about Xavier Legette, and he was one of the only people to score a touchdown on PS2 last year on the goal line. I just need Ted to come up here when Bryce get in trouble. You 6'4", we throw the ball, Ted up there somewhere. Because now I got Ted, I got Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, Hunter Renfrow, Jimmy Horn Jr., David Moore.
I like that pick. Jimmy Horn Jr. from Colorado.
Yeah.
I like that. He's a
I
dog.
like Jimmy Horn.
He ain't got no
I
name.
didn't see Jimmy Horn's draft grade was very low. Did that change?
I don't know, but just
I don't
watching him play, I like him. He ain't got no neck, but he can play.
Oh my God!
Like,
My
damn,
boy.
where that nigga neck
So
at, bro?
unnecessary. Good day.
So
He
we got
got
him.
neck, but he can play.
We got
But
you
no,
crazy, bro.
yeah,
Don't do that to me.
I love Tet's size. I love his hands. Yeah, big body receiver, physical receiver. What Mal said is concerning if he does have trouble getting open. I never watched
But that's
Arizona.
why
I
he
don't
goes.
know.
Well, Trigger,
That's why you get a Hunter Renfrow.
I just watched the when you know how they get drafted and they show you highlight tape.
Just highlights, yeah.
And you looked at it like, damn, and you know the commentators mentioned it, and you look like, damn, he can't get open. And I mean, he's running a streak route, and you know, damn, man, Cleveland can't fucking miss. Jesus,
He got open against Travis Hunter.
That was gonna be the second part of my
He got
rant.
open against Travis Hunter.
He kind of was moving at a fast pace.
All right, well, I mean, Travis Hunter. Okay, his thing. What quarter did he get open? Because if it's late in the fourth quarter, Travis Hunter then played 150 snaps.
It don't matter. You
But,
line up who I can't.
But as far as Dallas, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say just to end mine. I said to go with what you're saying about with Tet. That's why you got Hunter Renfrow and Adam Thielen to sit there and work with him all summer to help him get open that way. So it's the same way. Jalen Coker, we got a lot of people, route technicians that can help you get open. So he's gonna get here, and our head coach is a former wide receiver, collegiate wide receiver too. So they're gonna mold him. It's a development project. I'm glad we got two edges. We got a safety, we got a running back, we got D line, and then all our UDFAs. So I'm excited. Give me 11 wins next year for Carolina.
Okay, I mean, I don't know about. Well, y'all in a weak division, so I mean, you might get 11 wins. Saints ain't got a quarterback. Tampa Bay is
They do. Tyler Shaw.
Yeah, Tampa Bay is still gonna be. Tampa Bay will still be tough.
Hey, Tampa Bay got better. They got
they picked up. Yeah, they picked up Ibuka. They got Chris Godwin's coming back.
They got two cornerbacks. They got Billy Bowman, and they got, I think, Jonas Sanker and Billy Bowman Jr.
Yeah, they're going to be tough. They're going to be tough.
Okay. I don't think this year, but next year, when y'all develop them and they get some experience underneath their belt, okay, y'all might start making noise. The offensive,
I think we can get a wild card in NFC South this year. If our offense stays where it ended at and our defense is just not historically bad, I think we can. We at our best, we're competing with Kansas City and Philly with our historically bad defense. With our historically bad defense, you saw the games last year. We could go. We could watch the tape.
Be wise.
We can watch the tape. We can watch the tape.
Any given
Given some,
Sunday.
I know any given
Any
Sunday.
given Sunday.
Ain't no
That's why.
way. That's terrible.
Trigger, I hope you cut that game off. I hope you still ain't watching that game.
I'm about to say the game on
I cut it
commercial,
off.
Trigger. What you watching?
I'm watching
Uh,
baseball, man. I ain't
I'm
fucking with
about
the
to
Miami
say.
Heat.
I'm about to say they watch. I see a Red Lobster commercial.
all right, y'all on the board. What y'all think about the Cowboys draft? Y'all did the
Um,
Cowboys thing
from
and
from a
get
draft standpoint, it looks like they are going back to the 2014 strategy. I look like they're trying to buff up the offensive line. They're trying to compete with Philly's defensive line. Um, from what it looks like, they're trying to beef up their offensive line. They're going back to running the football, that's what I like to see. Run the football. I saw a stat where the top five teams who had a better running percentage, had the best running percentage, all five of them made the playoffs. And the top five teams who had a top pass percentage didn't make the playoffs. Running the football is just it's just it just helps everybody out. It helps your line out because when you run block, you're running to the defender instead of pass block where they're running towards you. You control time of possessions. You keep your defense off the field, keep their defense on the field. So it looks like they're trying to get back into that smash mouth 90s Dallas Cowboys, run it 25 times in Emmett, where Troy Aikman only throws it 15, 20 times. Um, as far as the defense, that's still a work in progress. Um, they got another pass rusher, so Micah Parsons won't get double teamed. So now Micah, there's no excuse, dog. There's no more excuse. You got your help on the other side of the ball. You're not gonna be double teamed. So there's no reason for you not to show up in big games. You want to be compared to Lawrence Taylor? Well, here you go. Show the floor is yours, Trigger.
Yeah, so initially I gotta be honest, I wasn't thrilled with the first few picks that Dallas made in the draft. But coming into the draft, we had about 8 positions of need that we had to fill. Obviously, you can't mess that up, right? And I saw a bunch of names of potential people that Dallas could have drafted with that first pick. There was also rumors that Dallas was working on a trade, so I didn't know if they were even going to keep the 12th pick. Maybe they trade up to get somebody or trade back to get more picks. I don't know, but ultimately they ended up staying with the 12th pick. And then there began rumors coming out, hours before the draft, or really the day before the draft, that around the league it was felt that the Dallas Cowboys were going to draft a wide receiver with the first pick, which obviously that was an area of need because we saw that we definitely need help behind CD Lamb as our number one. So I'm thinking, Tet out of Arizona, they had a lot of draft boards had Tet falling to Dallas at 12. And I feel like every time they do that, he goes earlier. The same thing happened with Pat Surtain and J.C. Horn in the draft a few
North
years
Carolina.
back when we ended up getting Micah Parsons instead, which might have worked out for us to begin with. But a lot of things floating around, a lot of potential names. Tyler Booker's name was on the list of players that included Amarian Hampton, Ashton Genty, Tet, Matthew Golden, and a couple others. But he was down at the bottom. So I won't say that this pick came out of nowhere because there was one mock draft out there that did have Dallas selecting Tyler Booker at the 12th spot because you need somebody to replace Zach Martin. And when Tyler Booker got drafted, I gotta admit, the name didn't surprise me, the pick didn't surprise me, but I didn't know much about Tyler Booker. I didn't really look into his stats like I did the other guys that I thought we would take. And when I looked up his stats, holy crap, this dude's the real deal. Um, Again, we needed him, I think, and it was the smart pick to make, other than getting or outside of getting a skills position player, a running back or a wide receiver. And it took me a couple days to kind of come to that conclusion because I got to think about the big picture, right? So for any of our specialty guys or skills guys to have success, the offense is built on the foundation of the offensive line. It does us no good to draft a Tet or a Matthew Golden or Ashton Genty or Marion Hampton if the offensive line cannot give them time. If the offensive line is not good enough to create holes for those guys to run through, they're useless. If the offensive line cannot hold up their blocks to give our quarterback time to throw the ball down the field to our playmakers, those guys, those special skills players are useless. So you got to start in the trenches. You got to build the trenches up first. What did every team that made the playoffs have in common? They had a good offensive line. What teams consistently make the playoffs without a good offensive line? Not many, if any at
Kansas
all.
City Chiefs.
You're right.
That's not many or any at
But
all,
they got a
right?
good
So,
interior though.
but
Okay, but
everybody else,
Kansas City, yeah, they don't have the best offensive line, but
They
then
got a
they get
great interior line.
exposed. They get exposed in the big games, a la the Super Bowl in 2021. They got heavily exposed, and then in this Super Bowl. So yeah, well, I'm sorry, Trevor. Go ahead. Continue what you're
no,
saying.
you're good. But yeah, so at first I wasn't like I was kind of meh on the pick, but then after reading about him and seeing how dominant he was, like that is exactly what we need. And if anybody is going to replace Zach Martin, he was the best guard available in the draft with reason, and if he can be just a quarter of what Zach Martin was, we won big with that pick. So I'm glad they made that pick. Always build an offensive line, and you build that up, you're going to have success. Now, one thing I will say is I know Dallas Cowboys fans were upset because we didn't get the big name players or whatnot. And again, I kind of explained already why that wouldn't work. We got to fix things on the line and get that line beefed up before we can worry about what running back or what receivers we're going to have, because none of that's going to work out if that line's not intact the way it needs to be. Um, Another thing too I want to add is Dallas has drafted the last three drafts now before this one. Their first round picks have been projects. They've been reaching for certain players. Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, they both had knocks on them coming out. Like Tyler Guyton, the guy we picked in the first round last year, he's great size, great length, strength, but ability. He has potential. If they could get it out of him, he may be great. Now, he had a lot of growing pains last year. He was in and out, inconsistent, but he's still there and they're still developing him, and hopefully he comes to everything that they thought he would be, and then some. Tyler Smith, when he was drafted, he was the most penalized offensive lineman in college, which fit right in with our team because we were one of the most penalized teams in football. So it was a match made in heaven. But again, another project. Mozzie Smith, he came so far out of left field in the first round pick that ESPN didn't even have a video package prepared for him when we picked him. They didn't know what to say because they didn't have him on anybody's board in the first round. So again, he started to finally coming to his own last year towards the end of the season. I started hearing his name more. He started to finally, do some things, make some plays. So maybe this year with a new defensive coordinator and Matt Eberflus, maybe he'll be able to get the most out of him, and we'll finally get a first round draft pick worthy player out of Mozzie Smith. But that remains to be seen. But this year, for the first time, we finally got a player in the first round where there was no questions. This guy has the ability, he can translate, and he can dominate and impact the game right away. There's no, if he can do this, if they can do this for him, he can be a big star, he can grow into the role and all that. Like, no, there's none of that. So kudos to Dallas for doing that. And I'll end it with this. At least talking about our first round draft pick. This man, in 970 pass blocking attempts in his college career at Alabama. You know how many sacks that he gave up?
Was it less than 5? Mm.
Now, I did my math on this earlier. That means in 970 pass blocking attempts, the defenders that he's blocking has a 0.01% chance of sacking the quarterback.
Wait till you see that Carolina D line in week 2.
Like I said, defenders going up against Tyler Booker has a 0.01% chance of sacking Dak Prescott. Now that right there to me convinced me of everything that I needed convincing of. That's exactly what we need. Now if we get everybody else on the offensive line to at least do, something like that, something close to that, we're gonna be good. Now,
Not a
Jerry,
hot
all he
take.
has to do is make sure we get the right running back in place. And I love the running back pick that we made, Blue out of Texas. I
You
think
got two. You got Maffa
I
and
think
Blue.
yeah. We had two running back picks. We picked none last year. I guess they making up for last year's draft. But I do love the blue pick. The cornerback that we picked in the third round, that grew on me.
Rebel.
Being more optimistic, I don't like the fact that he and Trayvon Diggs are coming off of big injuries, but if they can both be, especially the guy we just picked, if they can both be somewhat reliable and decent and produce, it's a win. So, and then the edge rusher that we picked up in the second round, like Mal said, giving Micah Parsons some help. So Micah Parsons has no excuse now. That guy that we drafted in the second round led the ACC in sacks.
As a
He's one of
Raku.
the top defenders or top edge rushers in the country. So,
I think tackle for
I
losses
think
too.
that's a very underrated pick. It took me a while to kind of, settle on that and, be like, all right, I'd have done something there. So kudos to Dallas. It was a decent draft. I think they got everything that they needed, with the exception of a wide receiver. I'm hearing reports that Amari Cooper is suddenly people are gaining interest in the building for bringing him back. Um, we can get into that another time. Probably don't have enough time to kind of go over that tonight, but that is a name out there as far as a receiver on the free agent market that Dallas could potentially go and look into and bring him back into the fold. That would make a lot of sense, coming in. The contract won't be as big. He's familiar with the offense and the players. The coaches are a little different than where he had when he was there. But, again, familiarity with the quarterback, with the program, the organization, the schemes, all of that will be in play. And no pressure on him to be a number one. He'd be the perfect number two behind CeeDee Lamb. We're not looking for him to have big games just to be another threat so that we can get CeeDee Lamb more one-on-one opportunities. So that would be a great reunion. They never should let him go in the first place. I get why they did it, but they never should let him go, especially with what we got back for him and seeing what the Bills paid for him to get him. But that's another story. So, but yeah, I think Dallas did a good job in the draft. They got everything but a wide receiver. But we'll see what they do in the offseason here and how it all meshes. But yeah,
Amari
Tyler
Amari
Booker, yes.
Amari Cooper reminds me of that toxic ex. They're an ex for a reason. Um, you know, yeah, all this, that, and the third. But there's a reason why teams keep trading him and trading him and trading him. John Gruden said it best when he was in Oakland. He has no motor. You don't know what you're gonna get out of him. One game he'll catch for 80 yards, then the next game he'll catch for 230, and then you won't hear from him for a month. I really hope they don't spend nothing, waste nothing on Amari Cooper.
Well, again, they're not going to waste anything because he's not going to demand nearly as much as he was getting paid when he was with Dallas. Like the stock has definitely dropped a lot on him, and that's why he remains unsigned because, he's not going to be worth. I put it like this: the amount of money that Amari Cooper can command, Dallas will probably be cheap enough to pay it.
Yeah.
Like he'll fall into Dallas's uh, range of what they want to pay for a wide receiver than pay the 12, 13 million, 14 million that Cooper Kupp got and other, wide receivers got a free agent. Amari Cooper will probably demand only like half of that. So it won't nearly be as much as those guys.
Yeah,
So
and you
now
can be on
very,
an
very
extension.
budget friendly. And if Jerry can go back and get X players for cheap, he will. He did that with Zeke last year in the off season. So hey,
Yeah.
I'm not against it. Like I said, Lamar Cooper will be coming back. We don't need him to put up games where he got to catch 100 yards or 230 yards. We just need him to get CeeDee Lamb some breathing room. And he's better. I think you would agree he's better than any other option on our roster right now, potentially at a number two. I think he's better than Jalen Tolbert. He's better than John Domingo. He's better than Ryan Flournoy. I would take Amari Cooper over any combination of those three, any of them at any point. Jalen Tolbert, probably a good number 3. The other guys, maybe they're number 3. I don't know, but they're definitely not number 2s like Jerry's hyping them up to be.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, be wise and change the picture. So I guess we got to talk about the NBA playoffs. Speaking of NBA playoffs, the Miami Heat are down by 50.
Are you surprised?
I am.
I'm not.
Well,
That's why I ain't even watching. Look at what I'm watching. I had this on. This game started at 6:30, and it's been on my TV. I ain't even been to the Miami game. They down 3-0. What am I getting excited for?
Hey, you want that first quarter, Trigger?
They ain't about to win 4 straight against Cleveland.
Trigger, that first quarter was 41-17.
My time
I
on
was
my
like,
angle
nope.
watching them. But it is embarrassing. You down 39 at halftime. This organization done went all the way down to this Heat culture. Where the Heat culture at? You gonna play in front of your home fans and give that kind of dog crap effort with your season on the line? At least win one damn game. No, you don't win the series, but have some damn pride. You know they came out there and completely rolled over.
Not even win
just
one
letting them
game.
Abuse them.
But make at least one of your home games competitive. You lost by 37 on Saturday.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. They make the damn game competitive. Go out there and compete. Show some pride. If you lose, at least go down swinging. Y'all just went down there and rolled over, and let's let them have their way with y'all.
You lost that with Jimmy Butler left. Look at him on the Golden State bench.
Yeah, Golden State, I don't think they're going to go far either, but, I mean, they really showed that they dropped the ball with the whole Jimmy situation. That's all this has done. But like I said, when they made the play-in by the hair on their chinny chin chins, I said all they're doing is delaying the inevitable. That's all they did. Delaying it. They should have just went ahead and tanked and got them a top 10 draft pick. Instead, they make the playoffs, about to get swept in the first round, and now they got a fucking they're not picking before the 20th pick. Congratulations, Miami. You played yourself.
You trade for Bronny?
Stop.
LeBron ain't letting LeBron do that.
You make the trade for Bronny?
Even then, I wouldn't want LeBron back on the Miami Heat in this stage in his career.
I said not Brown. I said Bronny.
Him neither. What is he gonna do?
All right. So continuing in the playoffs, Miles and Trigger, let's get your opinion on the
Miami
Pistons.
Yankees try to come back. I can't believe they lost this damn game, and this team is not good, bro.
The Detroit Pistons.
Orioles.
Oh, you talking about the Yankees?
Dude.
What was you asking? Be wise.
Pitching. So we need new pitching.
I'm asking.
I told Trigger. I told you trade for pitching, but you didn't want to listen to me in the beginning of the season. But hey,
what?
When I say trade for a pitcher, the New York need to trade for a pitcher.
I've only been preaching that since the offseason.
But what do you think of? Dang, I forgot what I asked. Oh man, bro.
Playoffs?
What did I ask? Yeah, it was the playoffs. Oh, Detroit Pistons series, New York Knicks.
I'm very disappointed. I thought that was. I mean, it's been competitive, but Detroit, they don't know how to close, man.
And JB Bickerstaff, stop bickering so much, Coach.
And then the foul, I looked at it, Larry. It wasn't a foul.
Oh,
in the point game.
You said what, Trigger?
I didn't think it was a foul. I was looking. I think the shooter was trying to draw one, and it looked like it was more than what it was. But I think the referees made the right call by making a no call on that. I don't think there was a foul on that last.
Well, and here's the thing, and I mean, yeah, you can call me biased. The referee 98% of the time make the correct call. Like, like I said, if y'all did what y'all supposed to do, the referees wouldn't even be a topic. Y'all would be up 3-1. It just, I think, I agree. They play the Knicks tough, but I think that experience has come in. New York knows how to close, and Detroit doesn't. I like Cade Cunningham. I didn't know he was 6'6". I thought he was like 6'2".
No, he's a tall one.
Yes,
He's a little
I
taller.
think Detroit probably needs another player, another I ain't gonna say superstar, an all star. Um, and then they'll get. I think they'll get together. They can keep their core pieces next year. JB Bickerstaff stop bickering so much. And actually lead. He led NBA coaches in technical fouls this year. Like that's just unnecessary, dude. Um,
But he gonna be the coach of the year though.
well, yeah, he might be, but and which is scary because usually when you win coach of the year, you get fired the next season. Um, the hell, I'm rooting for him not to win it, but yeah, it's very disappointing. Everybody had Detroit winning this series. But let's give credit to the Knicks. They did what they had to do.
This is gonna be
Yep,
the
that's
first
another
time if they
team.
win.
That's another team I don't think is gonna go far either. They didn't prove to me in the regular season that they can beat teams when it matters. I said Detroit series would be interesting because I wouldn't have been surprised if Knicks lost to the Pistons in the first round, but I just feel like they've been surviving, barely surviving against Detroit in some of these close games. Like they easily went the other way, and that don't necessarily get me excited about the Knicks, doing damage in the next round against whoever they play. So
Well,
I
I
don't know.
think I think the Eastern Conference has always been. It's just they got to go with the flow. I think everybody always had Boston and Cleveland. Cleveland is sweeping. They're gonna sweep Miami. Boston it look like they're gonna do a gentleman's sweep against Orlando. I think Boston might beat New York in 5 games.
Now, BY said Orlando was going to beat Boston.
Mm.
They gonna come back.
See?
Okay.
Man, look at the question that
I
was
do like
posed in the
Pablo.
group chat the other day.
Huh?
Look at the question that's posed in the group chat the other day
Okay, yeah,
about
that's one
Paolo and
player.
Jason Tatum.
That's one player.
I can't
Boston
believe
has
you
a whole.
made that comparison. I almost threw my damn phone out the window.
Oh, that's what I saw on Twitter.
Hey, don't be prisoners of the moment, brother. I think everybody would take anybody in their right mind is taking Jason Tatum over Paulo. Now Paulo's
Paolo.
been good. The only reason people are talking about him is because he's on the national stage right now. How many Orlando televised Orlando Magic games we've seen on TV this season?
So let me ask you this: if you put Pablo on Boston and Jason Tatum on Orlando, how would the team look?
I think Boston will still be better, but I think because the players they have, it ain't just Tatum and Paulo. It's the supporting cast and the coaching.
Yeah.
If you put Tatum on Orlando, I don't think he does much. But Tatum having Jaylen Brown and all the other guys, they're gonna do well. I think Paulo joining that team, they're gonna do well.
Mm. I'm not saying Pablo's better than Jason Tatum, but I think Pablo, if he can stay healthy, he will emerge into a superstar.
Oh yeah, he definitely on his way. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm not just saying that because he's a dookie. But I like his game. I think he's more athletic than Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum is more. He has more. His basketball IQ may be a little higher, but Pablo's a better passer, and Jason Tatum is on a really, 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 really good team.
Yeah, I think Tatum's a better rebounder, a better scorer, and he has a better jump shot too.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I think Pablo's more physical. He's
Yep,
bigger.
he's a little bit bigger than Tatum.
Yeah. Tatum's a little light in the brick. I mean, he's a little light in the backside. But yeah, we'll see. But like I said earlier though, man, I think Nico Harrison might end up looking like a genius.
The only comment I'm going to make is right now he looks a little bit better. I still think Mavs fans obviously are pissed at him as they should be. Um, However, there's no telling that if Luka stayed with that organization, he would have been better. I know they went to the finals last year, but that's because they went last year don't mean they're gonna get back. It's hard to do. So yes, Luka does not look good with the Lakers right now in their current situation, being down 3-1 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. But who's to say if Luka stayed on the Mavs fully healthy, if they would have, been able to get back to the finals? Like we don't know, so we can't definitively say that Nico looks like a genius because he could have kept Luca there and got the same result.
I hear you. But
But
what
it
did
remains to be seen.
Nico say during his press conference over and over? Defense wins championships.
Hmm.
And what does Luca does not have? Any defensive skills.
I know.
He is a serious liability. You're gonna
Yeah,
have to
he
put
is. But
him around like nothing but defenders. Like remember how
yep,
they did with Steph
there you
Curry?
go. There you
Steph
go.
Curry, yeah, that's what you're gonna have to do because I just don't think he's ever going to become a okay defender.
Again, some of the greatest scorers we've ever seen play this game were not known for their defense.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Kevin Durant on the Golden State Warriors. You got Draymond, you had Klay Thompson, and Iggy. All those guys were D'ing up. So all KD had to do was just score. Steph, not a great defender. That's okay. He had the other guys around him that were strong enough to take those assignments so that he could just do his thing.
Right.
You look at Allen Iverson. He wasn't a great defender, but they had a pretty good defensive team. They were Tyrone Hill, Dikembe Mutombo, men in the middle, Aaron McKee. That team, they had a bunch of dogs in that team. You look at the Pistons. They didn't really have a superstar, but they were a very good defensive team.
Well, yeah, all of them were
Uh,
defense. All of
they're
them were.
all around.
Yeah.
To see who else can I think of? Reggie Miller wasn't a great defender, but he had Mark Jackson. He had
Rick
who was the
Smith,
dude? Rick Smith. He had in the middle. It was another dude too.
Antonio Davis.
Antonio Davis, and then later on, Jermaine O'Neal, Steven Jackson, Jamal Tinsley. So the greatest scorers, they can, they mean something. Obviously, they make an impact, but most of the times, again, there's only a small sample of great two-way players that have ever played the game. And the guys who come to mind are Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, modern day Kawhi Leonard. Like, not many after those guys, right? But everybody else, like, they're either really good at scoring or they play defense well, they rebound well, they do something well.
Well,
But
and
their
I'm
star
not.
players, oftentimes,
Well,
Giannis is an exception. Like he D's up and he can score a bunch of points.
I would say LeBron early in his career was a great defender.
Yeah, LeBron now and him and Luke on the same team.
Yeah.
You got to surround them guys with some defenders, some guys who can go out and stop some people.
But
Because they got to be the ones. James Harden is another one. He's not a great defender, but if you put some defenders around him, like a Kawhi Leonard and others who can D up, he can go out and do his thing, and he's not necessarily has to be counted on to play both ends of the court.
yeah. Well, I think with James Harden, it's just effort with him because I could have sworn when he came into the NBA, he was known for his defensive prowess. But I mean, I don't know. I can't remember. But
He could have had that role early on the Thunder before he emerged with the Rockets as a pure scorer.
yeah.
Because sometimes roles change depending on the teams you go on and who's on that team. So that's interesting. But yeah, I mean,
But I'm not asking Luca to be an all defensive player, but he doesn't even try. And then the thing that gets me is he wants to blame everybody else. No, that's your assignment.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, the effort could be there a little bit more, but again, because they know he doesn't play defense, that's why he scores and does so much on the other end of the floor. He has the energy to do all that because he's not doing things on the defensive end.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can average a triple double, but your defensive stats are going to suffer because you put so much energy into the offensive end that you kind of, pick your spots to take your breaks on the defensive side of the ball. That's why a smart coach would put him on probably their weakest offensive player, so he have to risk spending too much energy guarding anybody. That's what all coaches do. They put their best players, their best scorers, or the most important players. They don't give them the toughest matchups because they need them to produce on the offensive end of the floor. So you might tend to see those guys guard players that they wouldn't necessarily guard. Like you're not going to see LeBron guard Ant-Man the whole game. You're not going to see Giannis guarding. Sorry, that's a bad example. You're not going to see Jalen Brunson guarding Kyrie Irving the whole game, or vice versa. You're not going to see Kevin Durant guarding Jason Tatum the whole game, or vice versa. So those guys, they're going to match up on each other sometime because that's how the game goes. But as far as primary matchups, you're not going to see these superstar players guarding these other teams' superstar players. You'll see them guarding a guy who's not going to be going for 20 or 30 points. Because it's easier for them. They can conserve a little bit more energy, so that way they go down on the offensive end, they can give you everything they got.
Mm.
Bronny need to start in Game 5. That's all I got.
Bronny
If you
lose
want to
them.
win, put Bronny in.
No.
Uncle Shay said Lakers in 5. He meant to say Timberwolves in 5.
Mm. And what is your thoughts about JJ Redick having the starters play all of the first half?
Well, I didn't really see the game. I did hear about that, and I saw a report about it. For one, if they do somehow win the next game, like it definitely doesn't help them as far as recovery goes, adding all those minutes on there like that. And two, I don't know, because JJ Redick comes from an old school like background, growing up in that time where, you know, coaches did certain things like that to send a message. So I don't know if maybe there was some effort problems with the other guys who didn't go back in the game, or if it was just solely he felt that these are the best 5 players. They got some kind of chemistry or rhythm going right now. So I'm gonna leave them out there. They're our best chance to win. And if they get tired, they want to come out, they come out. But until then, they're staying out there. So I don't know what the issue was or why that happened the way it did. I know when things like happen like that when I was playing, it was effort. It was like guys on the bench or the ones who were on the bench were not doing what they were supposed to do, or didn't have the energy, or didn't have the motor or whatever to go out there and compete. So the coach would pull them out. I remember when I was in college, we had a game, and at halftime, the coach was not happy with how we were playing. And he had a hard time, getting a group of guys together to go out there to do what they were supposed to do. So at halftime, he came in and was like, "Who want to play?" He's like, "Who wants to go out here and play? Like who wants it? I need to see some guys who want it." And me and like 4 other dudes raised our hand, and at least 2 other dudes I remember never getting any playing time ran in. He was like, "All right, you're in." Like, so he put like a group of 5 of us out there who probably had never played together then or since then, because that was that tactic that he was trying to use to motivate the one to get all the playing time who didn't have it and seemingly didn't want to go out and play for whatever reason in that game. So I don't know. Coaches do things sometimes, send a message to their players, um, and other times they do it because they feel like matchups is the best strategy. If they're hot, leave them in, let them play. I don't know if the players on the bench said, "Hey, they doing it right now, let them go." If maybe he tried to sub somebody in, and they were like, "Nah, coach, they doing all right. Like let them. I don't want to disrupt what they got going on, because that happens too." So I don't know the full story, but I don't know if he got desperate, because sometimes coaches get desperate and they start to cut down their lineups, so they just go with a really, really tight rotation. Instead of playing maybe 8 to 10 guys, end up playing 6 to 7 guys on a rotation. So like when it gets to the playoffs and even in college and the NCAA tournaments, we, we had like 10 guys playing in the game, or 10 guys would at least play in the game. When it gets to tournament time and these games or win or go home, those rotations got really, really short. So I don't know, maybe if he was, it's that reason. Like it could be any of those things or a combination of some of them. I don't know. But I would love to get some insight onto why that happened. And I'll probably go do some research to see if if he ever came out in the interview after the game and explained exactly what happened there. But I'm willing to bet it's one of those things. It was an effort problem. It was a matchup thing. It was this group is cooking. I'm gonna let them go. He was sending a message, something. Um, so we'll see. I don't know, but I'm curious.
Yeah.
All right, fellas.
Sorry, it went
Where
10
is?
minutes past your
No, you
stop time.
good. We still got Devin Williams. I don't know if that's Devin Williams or not.
That
That's a
is.
Google
That's him.
search. Okay.
Yep, he just needs to shave that damn beard
So
so he can come in and show he knows how to pitch.
Yeah, I know you brought up in the group chat they made the move to take him out of the closing role. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit. Talk about your Yankees.
Oh yeah.
Our
Well,
Yankees.
sure. All right. So for weeks now, me and the Yankee faithful all on social media have been pretty much calling for Devin Williams to be benched or at least brought down into the setup role. And for weeks, Boone kept trotting him out there. Now I get why Boone did it, right? We traded a prospect and a starting pitcher for this guy. And we're not going to give up that type of capital to bring him in and just bench him after the first few weeks in the season just started. Also, to take up for Boone, Devin Williams is also a player that is known to get off to slow starts. This is nothing new with him. So, with that being said, Luke Weaver, who's been playing lights out since like August of last year, has done more than enough to show you that he is deserving of the closer role. Now, he got put into that role after the Yankees finally realized Clay Holmes wasn't it last year. Clay Holmes, however, has been it this year as a starting pitcher for the Mets. Let that sink in for a second. So just let it sink in. He's doing very well with the Mets. The Mets have the best record in the league, by the way.
But they're struggling on the road, though.
Soto hasn't even played nearly as good as he was with the Yankees yet. And he's going to get better, which means the Mets are going to get better. So, yes, they're going to be a scary team, which I thought they had a pretty good team anyway. I'm just glad that we ain't got to play him, as many times had he gone to the Red Sox or the Blue Jays. But anywho, not to get too far off subject, Devin Williams, he has struggled like big time so far. He had a 1.8 ERA, and now he has 11.3 ERA. That's astronomically a huge leap. And that's not what you want to see out of your closer, especially if you're boasted as one of the best, if not the best closer in all of baseball. Those numbers don't say that. And Boone finally saw that. And he had a man right there under his thumb the whole time on Luke Weaver, who has a zero ERA this season. Devin Williams has 11.3. Luke Weaver has 0. Nobody has scored a run on this man anytime he is in the game pitching. But I commend Boone for not letting this go on for too long. Because Devin Williams, he had 2 games, both recently here, where against the Tampa Bay Rays, we had a 4-run lead going into the 9th inning, and he gave it up. And the Yankees ended up losing that game in extras. We had a 2-1 lead against the Blue Jays the other night, going into the 9th inning, and he gave up 3 hits, or 3 runs rather. The Yankees ended up losing that game 4-2. And it was after that game, the next day, reports came out that Aaron Boone was feeling like, maybe I need to make a change here. And then earlier today, I think it was today, or maybe yesterday, they finally decided to take Weaver out of that closer, not Weaver, but Williams out of that closer role and place him as a setup guy. So he did make an appearance in the Orioles game tonight, and he did not give up any runs. So he looked good in his new role. Unfortunately, we didn't get to Weaver because they lost the game at the top of the 9th. You never got to the bottom of the 9th to see Weaver, but, it's all good. Another day of rest, he'll be fine. Back at it again tomorrow.
I just want to state, okay, he missed the free throw. The Miami Heat are down by 59. This has got to be a record.
Yeah, Miami Heat set records always on the wrong side of history.
They are down by 59 points.
First 10 seed to make it to the playoffs. First 8 seed to make it to the finals since the Knicks did it back in 1999. The first team to make it out the play-in 3 times. 3 years in a row. Like when is enough enough? Man, you get me all hot now. Let me stop talking
I
about. They
just
don't
I just
deserve
never
my.
seen a
They don't
I just never
deserve any
seen
words from me,
I just
good
never
or
seen a
bad.
college or a NBA
Good or
game
bad.
where a
They don't
team
deserve
was
any
down
words from
by
me.
60 points.
I hope they lose by 100.
And it's still 3 minutes
Somebody,
left to go, y'all.
somebody need to get fired. I'm done.
I'm with you on that. They don't deserve to get a game check for this game.
They need to go
Somebody
ahead
need
and
to
do it.
get fired, released,
Move
traded,
up into the president role. Chris
something.
Quinn move up into the coach.
If
That
if
is,
if Spoelstra if Spoelstra got fired, I would not be surprised.
you lost by
He's a good coach,
37.
but this display of basketball these last 4 games have been horrible. I don't
Is
care if you
Memphis in
traded away
y'all
Jimmy
division?
Butler. I don't care if you traded away Jimmy Butler. Huh?
Is Memphis in the division with the Heat?
No, it's us, Charlotte, Atlanta, Washington,
Memphis is in
and
the West,
Orlando. Huh?
That's right.
which
That's right.
I know geographically that don't make
It's
sense.
But
like the
even then,
Cowboys.
the Southeast Division is very weak because, like I said, it's us, it's the Wizards, the Hornets, the Hawks,
No,
and the
I was
Magic.
talking about Spo.
The
I'm talking about
Magic are the
Spo going to
only legit
the
team
Grizzlies.
in our division right now.
Do they still even do divisions in the NBA?
Yeah, it's 6 of them.
I thought
Three
they
in the
still.
East, 3 in the East, 3 in the West.
I thought they did away with them, but yeah, I was when you was talking, Trick, I was just looking like, yo, they are really down by 59 points.
Again, I hope they lose by 100. So,
Mm.
anywho, but again, I kudos to the Yankees and Aaron Boone for making that decision. I know, again, they spent the premium to get him there, and you want him, and they might have forced it a little bit longer than they should have because they spent so much on getting him. I think it'd been different if he was just a free agent signing or like just another guy. They probably would have took him out of the role sooner. But because they gave up a really good prospect and a starting pitcher for him, they tried to force the issue and make it work and let him work through some things. And it's just not working right now. But that's not to say that Devin Williams can't be the closer later on this season. It's still mad early. Weaver's going to go out and have an outing where he has a bad outing or two because it just happens. Like, he's not going to have a 0 ERA for the whole season. Um, but I think Williams can be good enough to get that closing role back. And and Weaver will be, he's obviously dynamite where he's at, whether he's closing or if he's setting up. So I think this will be good for Williams to get himself together, and then hopefully like June-ish, July, early summer, he will be back and he will be good to go, and he's doing his thing, and he's finally looking like the pitcher that had a 1.8 ERA instead of the one who has an 11 right now.
Mm.
Carolina 11 wins. All right. What's
Shouldn't
y'all
have said
final
11.
thoughts, fellas?
Fellas,
11.
before you get in that ring with that gorilla, ask yourself one question. Who the hell is she texting? Instead of getting in that ring with that gorilla, well, hell, it's probably you got a better chance of probably surviving with the gorilla than going through a phone and getting caught. You might have a better chance with the gorilla than you do with your girl. But
Going to the zoo tomorrow.
yeah,
Drew gonna be looking. I could take him. Hey, the scariest time I had, bro, we was at the zoo. Let me tell you, the gorilla. I'm sitting there with the kids, Elijah and Micah, they in the strollers. We had to go down the little steps. So we sitting there. The gorilla go like this and look at me. And he just started running. Whoa, 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 whoa. And just stop at the glass and say, I'm like, bro, I thought I was scared. It was like me and another dad right there. We was about to take the kids and jump up and run. And
shit.
I thought he was about to break the glass. I thought he got tired.
Fuck them kids. I would have took off running. Hey, if you know what I know, your ass better run.
Hey, look, I grabbed one. I grabbed the youngest one, and I was gone. But bro, I thought he's about to. He looked like he was just done, like being in captivity this day, with me standing right here, and I'm like, brother, please no. He just stopped and looked at us and kind of like walked away. So I don't know. It depends on what kind of gorilla it is. Is it the gorilla from Rampage that The Rock had to calm down? Like, I think we're losing that fight. And who going on the front line? Who first at the gorilla?
It ain't gonna be me.
Mouse.
should put the whole Miami Heat team in front of the front line.
That's true. Hey,
But
Trigger.
yeah,
Hey.
let me get off. I gotta make a phone call.
All right. Y'all Trigger your final words. Any last words, future?
The Miami Heat have embarrassed the sport of basketball. They deserve to be promoted or demoted to the G League. Everybody getting fired if it was me.
Hey,
Get
we
that
should
type of
add
effort.
relegation
I
to
know
make
you
it
ain't gonna
cool.
win the series. I know you ain't gonna win the series, but to give this kind of effort in the last game in front of your home crowd,
They
like
are down.
that is absolutely atrocious, man.
They
That is
are
embarrassing. That is like something got to happen.
they are officially down by 60, y'all.
You trade
It might
Tyler
up. It
Hero for
might be
KD
62.
or Giannis?
I'm trading everybody. I'm trading everybody up for grab. Bam too. Bam is peaked. I'm sorry. He's not getting any better than what he is. He has peaked. He is what he is at this point. Someone told me in the past he could be an Anthony Davis type player, and I was like, no. And yeah, we see how
Okay,
that turned out.
it's back down 58. Whew. You
Oh
can't
my,
lose by 60.
stop. But no. The Miami Heat need to go, man. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of doing the play-in every year. They got to play their way into the playoffs, and then they go in there and get embarrassed. All that fighting for this,
Yeah.
didn't win a single game, embarrassed in front of your home fans like this, making Jimmy Butler look like he was right all along about this whole ordeal. They just made Jimmy Butler look better and better each game they played in the postseason. That's all they did. Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, y'all better figure it out. And
Oh,
if
they down
one
by
and if one of
55.
and if one of or both of y'all ain't around next year, oh well. At this point, I'm done making excuses for both of them. Oh no, they should still be in the mix. Or oh no, they should not. No, you can't put this type of product on the floor and think people are going to be okay with it. This is not okay. There's something bigger going on here. I don't know what it is, but this is not fine at all.
They are getting a
This
standing
is
boo.
embarrassing.
They are getting booed out the stadium.
They deserve
Oh
every bit
yeah.
of it.
Oh,
The
people ain't
people
coming
pay
to Miami.
their hard-earned money to come in there to watch them play, and they put on that type of performance, put that product on the floor.
They've been hoodwinked.
Tyler Hero, Bam, and Andrew Wiggins. No offense, he's a good dude and all that. Looks like he cares, but he ain't it. He is not it. He is not it.
All right,
Never
fellas.
was it. Even when he was #1 pick for Cleveland, even then he was no. Nope. He is nothing better than a role player. He is not a guy to carry a team to the promised land. Not even close.
I brought
He
my
needs to
lotion
go
today.
somewhere.
All right,
All right.
Bam,
go make
Tyler,
your phone
everybody
call.
get traded. I'm done.
Trigger done
Done.
with the Heat.
Yankees, please
Carolina
get back to
11
the World
wins.
Series this year. Please. Cowboys ain't gonna do it. The Miami Heat ain't gonna do it. I'm down to the Yankees. Y'all have got to do something this year. Something. Please.
Blessed been in the championship.
I'm talking about professional sports here.
That's
I
professional.
ain't talking about my success. My success don't matter. I'm talking about professional sports.
All right, y'all. We out.
All right.
See y'all. Cancun.